Have you ever wanted to play a 2D Sekiro? Well, this might be your best bet. I know I love Sekiro, but I've already played through the game so many times that I need something new. Luckily, there's a new game that came out that might just do the job. I'm Sam the Ashen, and this is Nine Souls. Nine Souls is a 2D metroidvania Souls-like with just under 3,000 reviews sitting at very positive. I heard about Nine Souls a while back in one of Iron Pineapple's videos. He makes great content. I always watch his Souls-like series. Anyways, this is one of the games that caught my attention, and I've been waiting for a demo or the release, so when it finally did come out, I didn't even hesitate to go ahead and get it. Upon starting the game, I could already tell that the hand-drawn animation was beautiful. There's plenty of little details that just add style to the game. The game is dripping with charm. I'm always a fan of good hand-drawn art in games, especially because I myself am not a great artist. Also, mostly on important story parts, there are little art panels that tell the story, kind of look like a comic book or manga. As for the gameplay, which is probably the most important part to most people, the combat is exceptional. It's responsive. When you parry, the timing window is really fair and it feels satisfying to pull off. The dodges are quick and fluid, which adds some smoothness and some rhythm to the game. The sword attacks come in a 3-hit combo, and with all the new unlockable abilities you can get by progressing through the game or by spending skill points, there's quite a few skill trees with abilities and upgrades to unlock, which adds some spice to the combat as well as help you progress through the game. There's a good amount of enemy variety. Pretty early on, you'll go from fighting a guy with a sword or a spear to a snake or a hornet that shoots needles at you. The enemies are well designed and their attacks are telegraphed well enough for you to have a fair chance in pretty much every combat encounter. I don't feel like I really had any cheap deaths, so far at least. For every enemy attack, there is usually some kind of counter that you're supposed to do, whether it's dodging or parrying, or a special parry that you unlock later on. So far, the level design is pretty solid. I don't think it's anything amazing, but it's definitely not bad. It's pretty linear, with a few branching paths here and there that let you go in an optional direction to get some extra loot, like the currency in the game or a new chip that gives you a new passive or an ability. While the level design is pretty average, the detail, the animation, and the overall style of the environments is done really well. There's plenty of background details that make each section feel more alive. It definitely gives you something nice to look at while you're running back through to get your gen that you dropped. As for the story goes, you find out pretty quickly that your character Yi is a close friend of a boy named Sean, and you're kinda the voice of reason to him when his village is a bit brainwashed. It's definitely its own story. While you can see the similarities between this story and Sekiro's story with Kuro, no spoilers here story-wise. Our character Yi is strictly science-based. Look at the facts and leave your feelings out of it, and his little buddy is pretty much the total opposite. And you can see the two's personalities and beliefs kind of rubbing off on each other. It makes for a great dynamic and some interesting perspectives on life, religion, following things blindly, being one-sided, only looking at one part and ignoring other possibilities, and so on. I won't go into all the themes I think I see, but there definitely is some interesting ones. While most of the aspects of the game are either solid or really good, there is one glaring flaw, and that would be the keyboard and controller support. Now, the game isn't on console, it's only on PC, so you would think that the keyboard would come first and the controller would be a nice addition, but that is not the case. The game is borderline unplayable without a controller. I use my PS5 controller to play most of these games just because I like metroidvania games with a controller, and everything worked perfectly, and then one day my daughter was using the controller for the PlayStation, so I just used the keyboard. And this is when I found out that there are several keys or actions that don't even work on the keyboard. The scout fly is one of them, which you have to use for getting into another area fairly often. And another major one is dodging. I will say that this could be my game, although my keyboard doesn't have any other problems whatsoever on any other game, so I doubt it. There is a workaround, at least for the scout fly, but it's definitely a hassle. You have to go into the key bindings and change the key binding, and when you press the input for a new keybind, it triggers the scout fly in the game. That's the only workaround I know of, and it's only for the scout fly. It doesn't fix the dodging at all. I know that this is a major bummer. If it's really a deal breaker for you, maybe check online and see if there's been any updates or any fixes that I don't know about. But it's something I would definitely look into before you get this game if you don't have a controller or you don't want to use one. After a while into the game, you unlock an area that kind of becomes your main hub. It's a cool area. It has a place for upgrades, it has a place for your buddy Sean. It has a robot that can help you get information if you pick up the right items. I don't think it's anything amazing design-wise. I think it could have been a little more unique, but it does the job. The checkpoints are placed pretty well throughout the game. They don't seem too close together to where there's no challenge or sense of danger, but they're not so far apart that it seems unfair. There was only a handful of times where I was down to the last drop of health, searching for the next checkpoint, and I arrived just in time, which was a pretty good feeling, and it didn't feel like I was having to do that too often. There's also little refill stations occasionally that aren't really checkpoints, but they top off your healing items and your health. They're placed pretty strategically throughout the game before a tough challenge or a mini-boss, so this is a nice touch. Like with most Metroidvanias, you don't get all the upgrades at the beginning, like double jump or air dash or charge attack. Those all come steadily throughout the game, and I think they do a good job of letting you play and get the hang of the game and then the mechanics, and then introducing a new mechanic that can mix things up, but also presents a new challenge. So if you are interested in getting the game, I would say the deciding factor should probably be whether or not you want or can use a controller. I appreciate you watching the video. If you did enjoy it, leaving a like really does help me out a lot. Let me know what you thought of the game or of the video. Any feedback helps me grow. If you want to see more from me, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you. I post once every 2 weeks on Sunday, so I'll never clog up your feed. Hope you have a good one. Peace out.